Hi everyone, it's Miss Marcotte. We're going to do a quick video to review what we've been covering this week. Talking about area, we've moved on to Unit 4, which is geometry. On Schoology, you can find in that Unit 4 folder the notes that we took Monday, Tuesday, and then the notes that we took today. So Monday and Tuesday, we started with finding the area of parallelograms and with triangles. So let's go ahead and go over some. We're going to look at page 442. Starting with area of parallelograms and rhombuses. We talked about rhombuses, but we didn't find any area of those, so don't worry about that. So for finding the area of a parallelogram, we're going to be doing our base times our height. So on page 442 in that lesson 7-1, number 1, I've got our parallelogram drawn here. I can see that my base is 4, and then that dotted line, remember dotted lines tell me that's a height. I've got 9, so I know area is base times height. I know my base is 4. I'm going to multiply that by my height 9, which would be 36. And then we didn't necessarily talk about this that much in class, but this would be 36 meters squared. That would be the unit of that area. All right, now let's take a look at triangles. We also talked about for parallelograms, we talked about rectangles, and we talked about with squares. For both the rectangle and the square, you can also use the base times the height and the length times the width. Either one works. All right, for the triangles, this is going to be in the lesson 7-2. Our formula is 1/2 of our base times our height. And we watched that Khan Academy video that kind of showed us how two triangles together could create a square or a rectangle or a parallelogram. So understanding why we want to take 1/2 of our base times our height. All right. So, and of course the other, so you can do 1/2 of the base times the height, or you can also do base times height and then divide that by 2. All right. So if I take 1/2 of my base here is 8. And then actually I didn't say this was number 2, and they actually have this side labeled as 10, but that's actually a distractor. We don't need that one. Remember, we're looking to see where the right angle is, and the right angle touches the 2 measurements that we need for our base and our height. So our base is 8 and our height is 6. So I'm going to multiply 6 times 8, which gets me 48. And then 1/2 of 48, or dividing 48 by 2, gets me 24. And the unit for this one was feet squared. All right, let's go ahead and turn the page. Now we're going to talk about trapezoids. So this formula is a little more complex, and parents, don't worry. We're not having the kids memorize them. They will get a formula sheet that'll have the different formulas. The thing is that they won't be labeled. So they need to be able to look at 1/2 times height times in parentheses base 1 plus base 2 and know that that's the formula to find the area of a trapezoid. Or look at area equals base times height and know that they can use that for a parallelogram or a rectangle or a square. And that 1/2 base times height would be for a triangle. All right, so we're looking at page 443 in lesson 7-3. Finding areas of trapezoids. We didn't do kites, so don't worry about that. For the trapezoid, we're looking at number 1. So we want to find 1/2 of my height times base 1 plus base 2. So I'm looking for my height. That's my dotted line. That's going to be 11. And then bases here. Trapezoid is not a parallelogram because it's only got one set of sides that are parallel. So the 2 top and bottom that are parallel, those are our bases. So base 1, 6 plus base 2, 5. Following order of operations, we would add 6 plus 5 first. So I've still got 1/2 times 11 times 6 plus 5 also gets me 11. All right, so let's do that 11 times 11 first because I know that's 121. So now I want 1/2 of 121. So I'm going to divide 121 divided by 2. 2 goes into 12 6 times. 6 times 2 is 12. With nothing left over, I've got a 1. 2 cannot go into a 1. So I'm going to put a 0 to hold that place value, and then add a decimal. Make sure I remember to bring it up and add a 0. And now I can bring that down. And 2 goes into 10, 5 times with nothing left over. So my area of this trapezoid here would be 60.5, and the units for this one were centimeters squared. All right, last thing that we've done, oops, wrong button, is we've talked about for lesson 7-4, area of polygons, or what we talked about in class, composite figures. Composite just means not one of your regular shapes, so not a parallelogram, trapezoid, rectangle, square, triangle. You've put them together. So here for this shape that we've got, this is still on page 443 in that lesson 7-4, the only example they've got. I know that polygon is in a graph, but I've just taken it and drawn it and labeled the different lengths of the sides. I can break this shape up into 2 different rectangles. I could either do it this way, or I could have drawn my dotted line this way. Let's go with the first way that I've done. Okay, so let's say I'm trying to find the area of this first rectangle here, this red one. So again, that's going to be base times height. I can see I've got, or length times width, I've got a base of 3. I'm going to multiply that by my height of 9. And 3 times 9 gets me 27. Let's look at my other rectangle here, this blue one. Still doing base times height. This time I'm multiplying 2 times 3, which gets me 6. Okay, so then I need to add up 27 plus 6, which gets me 33. So my answer should be 33 square units, because this shape came from a graph, so I wasn't using centimeters or inches or feet or anything like that. Okay, so students do have a homework assignment, Unit 4, Homework 1. They can find that on Formative. Some ask for a hard copy, so they've got that. That is due at the beginning of class the next time they see me. Period 4 is a class period behind, so they have not gotten that yet, but everyone else should have. So hopefully we do really well on our quiz, on our first geometry quiz. All right, guys, see you in class. Bye.